What's better than fantasy football? Kyle Fridland, Jake Fridland.
Ain't nothing better than football.
Two brothers talking about the nitty and gritty of the best sport in the world. Welcome to the Fantasy Simpletons Show! Back at it again.
Woo.
Here with another episode of the Fantasy Simpletons. Jake, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Yeah,
Dude, I'm
doing well. Beautiful
I'm
day.
doing pretty good, man.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
It's
Nice.
my favorite type of episode. It's another episode in the series, week 8 of our starts, flexes, and sits. And it's going to be a busy one. This is a big, big week in the fantasy world with a lot of injuries and a lot of bye weeks, a lot of players on byes. It's going to be tough. Everybody's struggling somewhere and they got to find places. This is a week that tests your depth. So we got to help you in the best way that we can. That's what we're here to do. Anything else before we start up, Jake?
No, you said it best. I say let's get into it.
All right, let's get into it. Start flexing. Let's go. All right, we're going to get started with the week 8 buys here. There's 6 teams on bye. 6 whole teams. What?
Jeez.
We got the Cardinals, Lions, Jags, Raiders, Rams, Seahawks. There are too many players to go over, but I'll go over some of the notables. On quarterback side, we have Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford out. We also have streamers like Trevor Lawrence and Sam Darnold. A big hit at running backs. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Zach Charbonnet, Travis Etienne, Genty, Kyron Williams, Kenneth Walker. Receivers, we have a lot of top-end guys out. We have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, Devontae Adams, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and even smaller names like Marvin Harrison, Brian Thomas. Even some tight ends like Trey McBride and Laporta, and yeah, even AJ Barner. So a lot of big names on bye this week.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got to see. There's going to be a lot of planning, and it's going to test your depth. Let's see where we go off. We're going to start with Thursday Night Football as our first main matchup. It is the Vikings taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. I almost called them the San Diego Chargers. After all these years, there's still a little bit of prevalence in my mind. But I find it more interesting to talk about what's happening with the Chargers right now because they have a new emerging weapon in Oronde Gadsden, who we've talked about before, but since then, we've seen multiple games where he has more than 7 targets and more than 7 catches. So it feels like he is now officially a part of this offense, which makes it more difficult because it was already kind of tough to manage as it was with the 3-headed hydra of receivers with McConkey, Johnston, and Allen. But now if you throw Gadsden into the mix, now there's 4 different people that we have to keep track of.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be too much? Could it affect too many of these guys in a negative way?
Yeah, it's tough to call. I feel like we've only seen a couple games from Gadsden.
Yeah,
Really. So I want to continue to see what he brings to the table. I think they're going to continue to use him, but it's like at what level and who might take the hit.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, like, it is a very high-powered passing offense, so these guys could easily all be legit fantasy options.
Yeah.
But as far as Gadsden goes, I think the other players have kind of solidified themselves as heavy target usage guys, in Johnston and at least Johnston and Allen, in my opinion, have. And so McConkey and Gadsden, I want to see a little bit more from them.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I think you have to look at it as all of them are startable because you never know which one's going to go off in a game. So you have to go in with the idea of you're going to start them, but you also have to know the risks that come with it of there's very much a chance that they could just get 3 catches for 28 yards. or
Right.
something on that extent. That's just what you have to prepare for. I
Sure.
think it should be fine, though. Justin Herbert is going to be forced to throw the ball a lot if they don't have a great
Yeah, this
running
matchup is
game.
good. Right.
Yeah, he might be forced into that position. Kimani Vidal, he's still a low end flex because there's going to be some
Mhm.
desperation for running backs, even though I don't love the matchup going up against the Vikings.
Sure. Sure.
And what about because we're still trying to figure out if JJ McCarthy or if Carson Wentz is going to be in this lineup. I think if Carson Wentz is there, we're gonna know exactly we know exactly who he is at this point and what he can provide to the offense. With JJ, there's still a bit more of a question mark. We still don't really know what's going to happen to some of these guys. Like Jordan Addison, for example. We've never seen these two on the field together.
hmm
And Jordan Addison has looked so good. I want to see if it can impact his value as well.
Right. Yeah, we need to see McCarthy and Addison together.
Yeah.
See how they do in a game or two. But definitely with Wentz in, if he is the start this week, Addison is a must play, in my
He's
opinion.
incredible right now.
He's doing so well. And obviously we don't have, we don't have JJ or not. We don't have Justin Jefferson on this board here because he's a must start every week.
Yeah.
But yeah, Addison. I think even with JJ playing, I would take a chance on Addison, just because of how well he's been doing. I think they're gonna try to get him involved more, no matter who the quarterback is. But yeah, definitely with Wentz, like start him for sure.
Absolutely. It should be a fun game. I'm excited to see it when it comes out.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
We have another game here. It's our first. These are the Sunday 10 a.m. games. It's the 1-6 Dolphins going up to face the 3-3 Atlanta Falcons. I don't know. Something bad's gonna happen with these Dolphins, dude. Something
Dude.
bad's gonna happen. I'm surprised that Mike McDaniel did not get fired after that Browns game.
Oh, everyone's saying the same thing. Yeah.
It's shocking. I mean, but the whole team looks like it's unraveling. Tua continues to throw people under the bus, and he just is looking weird in interviews. Mike McDaniel, he looks checked out. Like he looks like he knows
Yeah.
that this is not going to be his job anymore, and you can see it in the interviews.
Sure.
So it's weird. Everybody's waiting for like some sort of reset to happen. Everybody on this team is just waiting for this season to be over. And there's still some players that won't be affected by it. Devon Achane will get his touches every week.
Mhm.
Jalen Waddle will be good. But man,
It's
man,
it's it's tough.
it's tough, man.
It's tough, and you know, in deeper like super flex leagues where quarterbacks might not be available. We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
Personally, like it begs this discussion of the rest of the season. Will one of the backup QBs be in the starting lineup? Maybe after this game, maybe you never know when it could happen, but we think that Tua really just needs one more bad game to kind of be, benched. To be honest, he had 3 interceptions last game.
Yeah. And it's not the
Terrible,
first game he's had with 3 interceptions.
right? And Quinn Ewers came in the end, and he didn't do too much. Obviously, just played a little bit, but yeah, it's either Quinn Ewers or Zach Wilson. I think if Tua continues to do bad, so definitely look out for that.
And Darren Waller is currently day to day too. So it's just another blow to this team that just everybody's going
Right.
down.
Yeah.
It's a sinking ship. You just don't want to be the guy that's on it.
It's tough for sure.
And,
It's definitely looking like they're gonna grab a quarterback in this next draft.
and then you have the Falcons side of it. And I'll just go off on this a little bit. Michael Penix, who I wouldn't say most of the time has been a quarterback you should start for most purposes, but in looking him up specifically, I have noticed something that he plays very well at home and he doesn't play well away.
Mm,
When they're at home, he plays a lot better. It seems like they have a tighter game plan and he just is more comfortable. In away
Hmm.
games, he struggles a lot. This is at home when they're facing the
Right.
Dolphins.
Mm.
So if you're in need of a quarterback, if your quarterback's on bye or hurt, and you didn't get, say, Aaron Rodgers or Joe Flacco on the waiver wire, if Penix is still out there, I'd suggest him as a low end sort of emergency stream option.
Yeah. Yeah. I see him only improving too, to be honest. I mean, they have a lot of draft stock in Penix, and I think it's a young team that will only continue to get better. So I am um, I do have a lot of faith in him moving forward, or at least I believe that he could be something in this offense. So I would agree with you.
Dude, I've always had faith in Penix. It's
Yeah.
just weird. They've always been like a two-faced offense. This
Yeah.
whole season, they either have really good games or really bad games. That Sunday
Mhm.
night game, they did outside of Bijan Robinson, they didn't do anything.
Right.
So it might just be a wait and see. London's obviously startable, and Kyle Pitts, he's always on the edge of it. Should you start him? Should you not? He's pretty much there. He's
Sure.
like a 10 to 12 sort of tight end in the league right now.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
pretty good for tight
yeah,
ends.
there's always room for those guys.
Sure.
Here comes another matchup here. We got the Bears going up to face the 1-5 Ravens. Man, does that suck to hear. But again, another week where it all depends on if Lamar Jackson plays, which I don't know if he does. It seems like even after the bye week, they're still not comfortable with him being out there. But at what point do you have to throw him out there?
Mm.
At what point? Because your season is pretty much dead if you don't get him out
Yeah.
there.
So surprising looking at things now versus the first game of the season. No one would have ever guessed that the Ravens would be this bad. Um, but it is tough. Injuries really wreck teams, and yeah, they're just not looking good. So
Yeah.
hopefully Henry gets more involved. Obviously, we have him as a start here. Um, and yeah, definitely tough with Lamar out, but there's still a chance he's obviously going to come back one of these weeks. Um, yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking about running backs, DeAndre Swift is I have to give him his props. He's been looking very good the last couple of weeks. And
Mm,
if the Ravens defense is still as battered as I think it is, he'll have a great game here this week.
sure.
And then you look at Rome Odunze here. So Rome Odunze last few games has been underperforming. He hasn't been looking too particularly
Mm,
good. So I think we have to take the first few games of the season, these last few games, and we have to judge them differently. We have to be like, okay, for the first few weeks of the season, he was up here. These few weeks, he's down here. We got to meet it in the middle a little bit of to temper our expectations a little bit. He's probably just more of a wide receiver too, which is fine. That's pretty much what we expected him to be
yeah,
coming into the season, but
sure.
it just doesn't mean he'll probably hit those highs that I thought he could have hit early on in the year.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I'm I have a tough time looking at the Chicago offense in general. I don't have anyone on those teams
Yeah.
in my personal leagues. Um, but there's a lot of potential there. And I think any one of these guys could pop off at any given week. Um, Speaking of an interesting guy that we don't have on, um, down below, but Kyle, how do you pronounce his last name?
Kyle Monangai, one of our
Mononga.
sleepers,
Yeah,
early day sleepers.
right. He's an interesting guy because he kind of popped off. Well, when the Bears were winning by a lot last week, and he came in the game and he started producing, putting up some points, and so he's kind of an intriguing guy to watch, just because he's a rookie with a lot of potential, and you know, uh, yeah, I mean they didn't put him in because um, DeAndre Swift was doing bad or anything. DeAndre Swift actually did pretty well.
Yeah.
But they kind of used both of them, and I thought it was interesting that he did pretty well. So maybe they'll start to use him. We'll have to see. But just someone to keep your eye on, I guess, in deeper leagues.
He's worth monitoring. If you have him, I think he is, if he's on the waiver wire. If you're low on running backs, definitely stash him.
Sure.
Especially because DeAndre Swift does have an injury history. He's definitely worth it. Quick note before we move on. Cole Kmet got an injury last week, so there is maybe a chance that we could see a bit more involvement of Colston Loveland. So that could be a little thing to just mark down just in case. I know he hasn't done much this season, but with opportunities opening up and still being a top 10 pick, they could see to use him more in the offense.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on to the Bills taking on the Panthers. The Bills have now lost 2 games in a row, and they have not looked as good as they did at the start of the season. It feels weird for some specific players in how they do it. Dalton Kincaid's obviously still day-to-day. I think he might lean more towards out with his oblique injury. But we mentioned this last week, but they need to see more involvement out of Keon Coleman.
Yeah.
They just need to see it. I don't know if it's the team not wanting to use him in that way, or maybe they're just not happy with what they see in practice, which goes against what we've heard, where everybody says he's our most improved player. He's gotten a lot better.
Man,
but they're missing a big play threat.
They really are. And it's just weird because they need him, you know?
Yeah.
Like you were saying, like they really don't have, or should I say they're not really using guys like Coleman, like Palmer, like the big X receiver threats that they really do need to bring this team at an elite level. It's just interesting that they're not getting those guys involved very much. And honestly, like we were talking about this earlier too. Keon Coleman just kind of looks like a drop almost. Like if he continues, I think in the next couple of weeks to not do anything, I'm hoping that after this bye week they kind of were talking about things, maybe gotten together and said, okay, let's get Keon involved. That's the hope. But if they don't start getting him involved, I would say I don't even think he's worth being rostered.
Yeah.
In redraft leagues, like deeper leagues, I'd say keep him just for the potential. But redraft, I don't know.
You just need a soft reset in the offense. And I think the problem is that they want to do a variety offense of like using a lot of different pieces. But in order to do that, you actually need variety in your players and how you play. You need a speedy guy. You need a slant guy. You need guys that can provide different areas. And Keon Coleman can do that. Sure, Khalil Shakir can provide something different to Keon Coleman. I can't think of anyone else in the offense that provides it differently.
Sure.
So that's something they need to look for. Maybe I was going to say they should look for somebody in the trade deadline, but they did that last year and it didn't do anything. They went and got Cooper. It didn't do nothing. No,
it's weird. And, Curtis Samuel is back. And he hasn't done much, I think, in the 2 games he's played, but I don't know. They need to spread the ball around more. But we have Kincaid as a start here. We shouldn't forget about him. He kind of is their X receiver.
Yeah.
Even though he's a tight end, he fills that role pretty well. And he's been being used a lot more this season, consistently, without the threat of their other tight end, Dalton Kincaid's. I'm not Dalton Kincaid. He is Dalton Kincaid. Who's their other tight end?
Dawson Knox.
Dawson Knox, yeah. So I'd say Kincaid is actually that guy, but still, they need more than just Kincaid and Shakir. So
yeah.
Anyways,
quick side note on the Panthers. everybody that you would expect is still startable. I know Bryce Young was taken out with a high ankle sprain, and that sucks because it looked like he was finally starting to get some confidence and get things going in the offense. I don't think moving to Andy Dalton will actually change the offense too much, though. I think he's been a part of that system for the last couple of years. They trust him as a backup. I think he won't have great games. I think he'll throw interceptions, but I think he'll run the ball around similar proficiency to Bryce Young.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I could see it.
I wouldn't pick him up. If you're really desperate, I'd still try to find better options than Dalton and keep him as a sit for now.
Sure. But let me ask you this.
Yeah?
On the Panthers side, would you rather start Hubbard or Dowdle? That's a debatable
tough, man.
question.
Because I was surprised they used Dowdle a little less than I thought they would coming into this last game, but I still think he's going to be lined up as goal line guy and guy they're going to try to get those like tough running touchdowns and bring in for like 3rd and 1s and 4th and 1s.
Sure.
That I think they're both usable. If I had to choose one, the hot hand. I'll go Dowdle because he was the hot hand. Hot hand, man.
Yeah, he's
Can't
been
deny
too
it.
hot. He's been too hot to just be put to the sidelines for sure. So
Yeah.
I would agree. I think I'd go Dowdle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jets going up to face the Bengals next. The 0-7 Jets. Oh, that number just keeps growing on the other side of that record.
Dude.
So, hold on here. So, they had to bench Justin Fields, which that might be his last opportunity as like a true starter. His last true starting opportunity. He was benched. And Aaron Glenn, their coach, had the nerve to come out the previous game when someone asked him, he's like, why would you even ask that? There's no chance he would not be our start. And then he took him out mid-game the next week.
Wow.
It's so tough because they're facing the Bengals, which has always been a bad defense this season. But they're so bad themselves too that I'm just struggling to think of guys to use. Breece Hall is the only person I can think of starting because of the need at running back, but everybody else just avoid like the plague.
Yeah, I would say the same. Unless you're in deep need of a quarterback in a Superflex league, like Kyle this week.
I had nobody to get, so I had to pick up Tyrod Taylor because he was the only player left.
Tyrod is on most waiver wires, I will say that. And even in deep leagues. So
yeah. He's on 99% of all waiver wires if you can find him. Don't find him. I'm playing him because I have to play him. Josh Reynolds is another guy that my team is so done with injuries that I had to pick him up off the waiver wire.
Jeez.
So it's not fun sitting pretty for me right now.
No, that's
but that's what happens. Sometimes follow the breadcrumbs. An 0-7 team typically means it's a terrible offense.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the easiest lesson you can learn in fantasy is, yeah, he might be a wide receiver 1. Yeah, he might be the quarterback 1. But if it's of an 0-7 team, be cautious.
Enough said. Yeah.
Dude, what about the Joe Flacco led Bengals? Did you watch the Unk Bowl, dude?
Dude, I did. It was insane.
It was crazy. 2 quarterbacks of an age of, I believe, 82. If you add both their ages together, it's like 82.
Yeah.
Went out there and both showed that if you put pieces around them, they still have arm talent. They can still throw the ball. And it changes up things a little bit in this Bengals offense because I was not high on Joe Flacco when he came in. You held out a little bit of hope. But Joe Flacco's coming in, a veteran. He's figuring out the system. He's running it. And he's doing what every quarterback should do in this situation. Target your best players over and over and over again.
Exactly.
As long as he does that, this passing offense is going to be just fine.
Right. I mean, hey, this guy's been in the league. I think I looked this up during that last game because I had to do some research.
37 years.
Since 37 years. No, he's been in the league since 2008.
Yeah.
Okay.
Him and Matt Ryan.
Aaron Rodgers, I think, since 2005, which is just crazy to think about. But no, man, Joe Flacco's won 2 Super Bowls. Okay, we can't forget, and he's been in more than that. So just having this presence, it rallies the team, you know, when they could do well on offense. And I don't see many teams honestly beating the Bengals if they continue to be on this hot streak that they've been on the last couple games. So I don't know. It's really fun to watch, man. It's like now I want to watch every Bengals game just to see. And this always happens with Joe Flacco. He gets put on these teams, you know, when teams need a quarterback to step up, and he just kills it. So yeah, super high on Higgins now, super high on Jamar Chase, obviously, again. And even Brown was feeling the effects of
He looked the best he did last week.
Dude, he looked really good. So I don't know. I think that this team can continue to do well if they keep the momentum that they've had.
I feel like I'm in half agreement. Where I think you're right. This offense is definitely doing better now than it was with Jake Browning. But it feels a little too early to be all in of like, for me. Because I've seen this happen before. Joe Flacco was recently traded. Yes, he is still picking up the offense, but it also means the defense isn't prepared. They don't have enough film on him to see what he does in this offense.
That's true.
And with a bad defense like that, he's going to have to continue to keep throwing a lot of yards and scoring a lot of points. So I think it's working right now.
Yeah, but for how long?
But for how long? Because we've seen this happen with traded quarterbacks before. Anybody remember Josh Dobbs? He had a couple great games when he first started playing, and then it all fell apart.
Yeah.
So I'll put it in a more optimistic note. He's definitely playable this week. If you're looking for a streamable option, he's definitely startable. But
yeah, I think it's just tough to be against a quarterback who has one of the best wide receiver cores on his
in
roster.
the league.
In the league. In Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins. They're just so good.
So good.
Yeah.
I don't know. But hey, they'll be fine this week.
Yeah.
Jets will probably go to 0-8.
Yes.
And next game. We got the Niners taking on the Texans. So I watched that Monday night game between the Texans and Seahawks, and then I saw the movie Black Phone 2 afterwards. It's good. It's a good movie. But what I came out of it was 27-12 was the final score. It should have been like 40-0. It should have been 40-0. That game we turned the ball over many times. The Seahawks, it was like 3 or 4 turnovers and lucky plays that kept them in the game. Their only touchdown was a strip sack fumble recovered in the end zone. But the offense just couldn't get anything going. This offensive line is still bad. You know, Nico Collins struggled in catching the ball in the last game. Woody Marks and Nick Chubb couldn't get a single thing going in that running game. They were stuffed on the goal line multiple times, and it sucks because coming out of those last couple games where they started to pick up some wins and the offense started to move, you thought, okay, maybe we can get a little momentum moving. Maybe this is a starting point for this offense to get better. And now after that game, all momentum is lost and they're right back to where they were.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think it's pretty clear to see that that CJ Stroud is one of the worst looking QBs this year in all of the NFL. Just gonna be honest.
It's an unfortunate. I agree with you. It's an unfortunate fact.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't know how things got so bad for these guys. Because he has so many more weapons than he did last year. I thought it was a weapons thing, with him only really having Nico Collins last year and Tank Dell being out. And now he not only has Nico Collins, he has
Christian Kirk, who's in and out of the lineup, but they drafted rookie receivers that haven't done anything.
Higgins. Yeah, exactly. And they just haven't done anything. Exactly. It's just really, it's weird. And the team just looks terrible. So
it's a line problem.
Yeah. It sucks too, because Nico Collins used to be one of the best receivers in the league. And now he's super mid. Right?
Yeah.
When he gets 10, 15 points a game, it's like, that's like flex worthy, to be honest.
Well, that's the problem, is you look at it, it's like you expected that because you drafted him a first round pick, which makes you disappointed because you don't draft a first round pick to get 15 points. You want 20 points.
Right.
It's simple mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So it's just a tough team for fantasy.
Yeah.
But
on the other side, it's tough to figure out what the Niners are going to be week to week because they've always had so many injuries throughout the season. One constant is Christian McCaffrey he's just going to get every single touch. Mm-hmm. That game, I couldn't even believe how many times he got catches out of the backfield. He was given the run. He was like 90% of the entire offense. George Kittle, who came back from his injury for the first time in his career, didn't catch a single ball, which is crazy to me. And that's an outlier, so don't take that as anything. He's going to be fine. Even in a tough matchup like this, I think he'll do better. But it makes me want to get Brock Purdy in because Mac Jones, he's doing solid. He's doing very solid, but he's only targeting one guy.
Yeah.
So I want to see a bit more variety in the offense when Brock Purdy comes back, personally, as a fantasy manager.
Mm-hmm. No, that's understandable. I completely agree.
Yeah. Get Kittle involved, man. I drafted him. I drafted him high, man.
Yeah, and hey, Ricky Pearsall could come back this week. It's still open. For him to return. We'll have to see. I don't know what the likelihood is. I think it's a 50-50 shot, but could open things up for the offense a little bit more. And I like Pearsall coming in to this injury-riddled offense. I think he could produce some fantasy points, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. We got a matchup, a lot of names to go over in this next one. The Cleveland Browns going up to face the New England Patriots. Jake, did you hear a report about the Patriots were looking to get another wide receiver in the before the trade deadline?
I did not hear that.
Apparently that's what they're trying to do. They want to get one more piece. And I'm like, great, that's exactly what this team needs. More guys to muddle the total offensive sludge of men.
Literally.
That are involved in this. But we'll forget about that for a second. We'll quickly look over how they could do against the Browns, which is a pretty good defense. Hunter Henry's just a bit too inconsistent for me now, especially with the emergence of other tight ends. It's becoming hard to start him week to week. But now I'm getting to a point now. We talked about it on our previous video. You can't play Treveyon Henderson anymore.
Yeah.
There needs to be something that is at least shown before you can even take the risk of playing him. I just can't think of it any other way, man.
Yeah. I agree. It's a tough one. Yeah. I don't think.
See, but that reaction is a perfect encapsulation of what managers and other people think of Treveyon Henderson right now. They're speechless. They don't know. They're like that sigh of just disappointment.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about him every week. We talk a little bit more about him, but he's just not getting the ball, man. So it's tough to tell what a player can do
Yeah.
when he's not really given a fair shot, and that's kind of his case.
Oh yeah. Well, this is not me going against him as a player. It's
Oh yeah,
just
yeah,
the opportunities he's getting are just they're not usable.
sure,
They're not
sure.
viable.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying too. It's just tough. Definitely still a stash. Like
Yeah.
there's totally a chance he could come in this season and make an impact on the team and in fantasy. So, but yeah, we're still waiting on him.
Yeah.
And Stevenson is still that guy. And
Still there.
honestly, I don't know. My mind changes on Stevenson each week. I feel like some weeks he's actually decent, man. Like this last week, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, when they get him easy touchdowns, yeah, he feels pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Which
It's
like
like it's like Zach Charbonnet almost. Like Charbonnet doesn't actually do a lot in games,
right.
but he keeps getting that like one touchdown that makes you feel like, well, at least my week wasn't completely wasted. At least I
Mm-hmm.
got something out of it. That's what Ramondre Stevenson feels like. So what about the Browns? If we look to the Browns on the other side of the screen, I kept it mostly the same. I know the game was a bit weird last week, but that was mostly due to weather conditions. There were strong winds and bad rain at times. And a quick side note, if you're a fantasy manager, you got to take it upon yourself to notice some of these bad weather games before they happen. So that way it makes it a little bit easier to make your decisions for certain lineups because that's going to start
Mm-hmm.
happening more often as we get deeper into November and into December.
Right.
But besides that, I still think as long as Njoku's not playing, I still think Fann's a start. I trust that he's going to be a reliable enough part of the offense to
Mm-hmm.
where I would still have him in that spot.
No, I totally agree. I think if he's out on the waiver wire on in anybody's leagues, I would pick him up and
Yeah.
just even just stash him if you have a better tight end. But I would stash him because yeah, he's you know they have Dylan Gabriel throwing to them, but Dylan Gabriel likes tight ends.
Yeah.
You know, he's been hitting up Fantin, and even before that, uh, Ninjoku had a couple good games with him. So yeah, I would definitely roster or start Fantin.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And Quinshon Judkins.
Woo.
Gonna be absolutely great. 3 touchdowns in his last game. Like no question about that. We don't even need to discuss it. He's gonna be great.
Super good.
Super good.
Yeah.
Oh, but this one's exciting. This is a rematch, Jake, of a couple weeks ago. We have the Giants taking on the Eagles. Now we all saw what happened on the last Thursday night game. We saw how they easily ended up beating the Eagles with Jackson Dart and Cam
Mhm.
Scatterbo, and it was this big whole thing, and everybody talked about a culture change. Well, I think the Eagles will remember that. They'll
Mhm.
probably come into this matchup at home, you know, ice in their veins, piss and vinegar, all the stuff. Do you think this next matchup is going to be any different than the previous matchup with some of these players or some of these guys we have involved?
I don't know. I can see the I'm not gonna I would never bet against the Giants, I guess.
Mm,
Um because they're just such an interesting team, right? And they got a lot going for them. Um with the emergence of some of these guys. But the Eagles are still the Eagles. You know, we can't forget
yeah,
that. And they're 5-2 for a reason. So, yeah, this is definitely an interesting matchup. I I don't know who I would have honestly. I mean, I would pick the sleeper pick in the Giants.
Dude, that'd be very interesting. I think
Yeah,
it's going to be a lot closer of a game. I
for
think the
sure.
Eagles are going to put up more of a fight.
Hmm.
I have Barkley as like my running back start of the week this week. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's also more because at what having Barkley on this list, at what point am I ever going to have Saquon Barkley on these start sits? When it gets to this point, he hasn't been performing great up to this point in the season, but you just have to hope there's going to be a game where he's just going to pop off. And
Right.
I think this could be the game where he takes that chance.
Sure.
I
I
mean,
can
we'll
see
have
it.
to see. I have to see if Jalen Carter's playing because apparently he was not playing in the last game. And
Mm,
I've seen a couple games with him gone to know that he plays a big part in that defense. So if he is healthy and he is playing on that defensive line, it could change things, especially with a rushing attack that's as heavy as Cam Scatterboot and Jaxson Dart.
right.
Dart, who I still think is a start this week. And I love seeing that. I
Yeah,
love seeing that he
I
could be a
agree.
start.
I think you should start him. He's got everything that a fantasy relevant quarterback should have. He's got the rushing ability. He's got the passing ability.
He's got the
Uh,
rushing ability. He's got the legs.
no, literally.
That that's the big reason. I mean, he runs the ball so much that it makes
Mm,
it almost hard not to play him, even if he doesn't throw for a bunch.
yeah. Yeah. No, they're specially designing plays for him to run the ball. And that's been apparent since day one of him starting.
Yeah.
So, uh, yeah, I think start him. I mean, unless you have a quarterback that's like that is obvious that you would start over him every week, a top 5 fantasy quarterback, then start, maybe take a chance on Jaxson Dart. And
Yeah.
this
Go
matchup
for it.
would be good. It's going to be a competitive game. So I see a lot of these players doing pretty well.
Yeah. I think the exact same way. And we'll talk about what happened in this last week's games in just a little bit. We have another team where we can mention that with. But we can move on here. We got the Bucks taking on the Saints. On the Bucks side of things, Emeka Egbuka did end up playing on Monday night, which was a kind of a shock to me. I didn't see it coming. But in that game against the Lions, what I did see was the first time where I saw the offense like stutter out a bit.
Hmm.
And I don't know if it's fully on the playmakers or the health. I know Mike Evans, I'll get to Mike Evans, but Baker Mayfield, I saw he was overthrowing and underthrowing certain players. So if he nails some of those throws that he missed, it probably would be a different story. We'd be talking about the game differently.
Yeah.
But Mike Evans. So unfortunately, in that last game, he broke his collarbone. There's a chance he could have gotten a concussion when his head landed like that.
Oh,
So they said he's going to be out for most of the season, if not the entire season, which does mean that that's it. The record's set in stone now. He still
mhm.
has it. It's just now he can't be the only one to then have it. He still shares the record with Jerry Rice, the man of a million records.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Super tough.
Do you think that opens up anybody else in the offense with Mike Evans now being out kind of almost permanently?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that Tez Johnson is definitely going to be one of the biggest reciprocants of this type of opportunity that's arisen for other wide receivers because he's been showing out in each of the games that he's been starting the last few games. And
Yeah.
also, I've been hearing news on potentially. I'm blanking on his name now, but he's
Jalen
on
McMillan coming
Jalen
back?
McMillan coming back. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so
No, I
that's
was thinking the
exciting.
same thing.
Right. And I don't know. I think once Jalen McMillan comes back, it's going to be a bit different. I see them potentially leaning on him more than these other guys that they have in Tez Johnson and Sterling Shepard. So I like that, but definitely Tez Johnson. If you have him rostered, that's a That's great. I mean, his value can only really go up from here, hopefully.
Yeah.
And yeah,
We'll have to see. I see him as more of like a big play guy. He kind of fits the role that Jalen McMillan had last season.
sure.
So I
I was
want to see
thinking
how
that.
that can sort of change if Jalen McMillan comes back. But
Mm,
outside of that, Cade Otton, he had a lot of targets last week. For me, he is my star of the week at tight end. I really believe when there are some pieces out, especially if Godwin's going to be out of this game, that
mm,
he will do well. He will flourish when he gets those opportunities.
sure.
But he's not the only. Mike Evans is not the only person missing most of the season. The Saints unfortunately lost Kendre Miller. It's unfortunate to see a player that has had his career wrecked by injuries now get another season-ending injury,
Mm.
especially when it looked like everything was going in his direction, and there could be a chance that, oh, maybe trade deadline's coming up. Alvin Kamara possibly? It doesn't seem like it's that likely now.
Yeah, it's very tough. But I mean, the Saints did secure a rookie running back in Devin Neal. So, he's kind of an interesting guy to look at because he hasn't really been used this season. And they very well could just run Alvin Kamara for the rest of the season,
Yeah.
and not use Devin Neal, or they could take a chance in Devin Neal, kind of see if he could play that role that Kendre was leading up to, and see what they have there. But that's why he's kind of an intriguing player to to grab now and stash, because if he
Yeah.
does well this week, um, yeah, good luck fighting for him off the wire. But I could see it going both ways.
I think for right now, expect it to be similar to like Jaden Blue in terms of like he'll get a few touches a game, start out like maybe 5, 6 carries, but just don't expect a lot of work for a while unless
Yeah,
something happens to Kamara.
right.
And then there's like, it's so interesting because both Kamara and Olave have been in trade speculation, but both have came out and said they don't want to get traded at all.
Hmm.
They don't want to leave this team. Olave, I'll give him his props that he has been doing very well the last couple weeks. But guess what? To keep the bit going, he's still going to be in flex. I'll still find a way, even if I put his names in both start and flex.
Hmm.
He's not
Yeah,
getting out of that anytime soon, man.
yeah, man. I mean, he you can't. He's really the only guy on their team that
He did very well though
that they
this last
have.
game. This is probably one of the best, statistically one of the best games
Sure.
he played his season in his career.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's exciting to see too.
Yeah. But there's talks that they're in works of an extension with him, so we'll see what happens. This is
Mhm.
like his 4th season. So we'll see. Maybe he's an interesting dynasty candidate coming up.
Definitely.
Dude, got a big got a big matchup here. We have the
Mm.
Cowboys taking on the Broncos. We have to talk about Bo Nix. Oh my gosh. Bo Nix is one of the craziest players. He always, every week, I'm always like, dude, I don't know if I can do Bo Nix anymore. Um, we were both watching the Broncos Giants game together, and it
Dude,
was late in the third, and I'm like, you know what, Jake, I'm done. I'm done with Bo Nix. I'm not playing him anymore. And they score 33 points in the third quarter in one of
bro.
the wildest, weirdest, craziest games all season.
It had to have been one of the craziest NFL games ever. I'm gonna be honest.
It's just
Like, there were so many wild things that happened in that game, and
there's so
the fact that the Broncos won, came back from
it
like a 20-point difference, bro. It was it was insane.
it was actually insane. But this has been the story of Bo Nix all season. Every time you watch him in these games and you watch he doesn't play that well, but every time you're about to be out on him, he just finds a way to drag you back in. And he
Yeah.
ends up with a 38-point game and you're like, gosh, I guess I have to play him. And now he's
I
my
know.
start of the week because he's facing the Dallas Cowboys, the worst
Yeah.
passing defense in the league.
No, exactly. This should be another great game for Bo Nix. At least that's the hope. I think coming off of this last game, they're gonna hopefully use. I think the hype on Bo Nix is real. It hasn't left. When you see a player do something like, what Bo Nix did in the last game, it's hard to deny that. And I'm kind of in on some of his receivers too. We have
Yeah,
Mims in flex. I think that he's going to be utilized a
he's
little bit more.
boom or bust. And when you're going up against
Definitely.
the worst defense in the league, I'd take the chance on a boom or bust.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And even potentially Troy Franklin. I'd say he
Yeah.
just gets a decent amount of targets each game. I do like Mims a little bit more, but if you have
Yeah.
Franklin,
I don't know, man. I feel like these last number of weeks, I've turned off on Franklin.
really.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like I don't even have him on the list. I've looked back at what he's done. It's like, man, he outside of that second game hasn't done really anything.
That's
Outside
very
of
true.
outside of like multiple like tip touchdowns where they just magically fall into his hands.
Yeah, he's definitely looked at, I think, as the third option on the team next to Mims now.
Yeah.
But really across the board, they use these wide receivers all over the place. So it is hard to tell each game who it's going to be. So for that
Yeah.
reason, I'm kind of in on all of them in this matchup.
And listen, the Broncos, they may have a tough defense, but you know what? Until the Cowboys show me otherwise, I ain't not playing anybody on the Cowboys offense. Prove me wrong. I'll change my mind when Dak Prescott doesn't score 35 points for the fifth straight game.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable.
it is. It is. Especially with
We
Lamb back. It's gonna be a wild game, and
yeah.
you definitely want to start all these guys for sure.
We've only got a
Ferguson,
few
Pickens.
games left here near the end.
Let's do it.
Uh this one's like the filler. This is like the filler game before the Sunday night and the Monday night because it's the 1-6 Titans going up against the 6-1 Colts.
Hmm.
Um is there anything we can say about the Titans that we haven't said already?
Um,
I don't feel like anything really changed coming out of this week.
no, they're
Yeah,
terrible.
it's all kind of the same. Sit most of the players, flex Pollard, and Colts talk.
Yeah.
Colts, I mean, this should be a good game for the Colts, but I want to focus on the receivers this time around.
Hmm.
Michael Pittman has been a top 10 to 15 wide receiver throughout this season because of how efficient this offense is. There's statistics going around that they are, as far as like drive to points, the amount of like points they get per drive and successful drives is similar to that of the 2007 Patriots.
Mm.
And in some cases is better. Like this is an offense that is performing at a proficiency level that we haven't seen
Hmm.
in a long time,
Hmm.
which is crazy. But it means these players are all doing well. Obviously, Warren is doing super well. Michael Pittman is going to be top 10 to 15. If Downs is out, I think Pierce is a very good flex play for this week.
Yeah, me too. With 10 targets last game, I think he caught 6
Yeah.
of those targets. I mean, that's just he's a crazy jump ball guy, and that's really what he does. He's he's really similar to a previous Colts, you know, wide receiver, T.Y. Hilton. I think he's just a
Yeah.
like down the stretch jump ball guy. And yeah, with Downs out, he's definitely gonna get some traction, especially against a bad Tennessee defense.
A bad at, well, what are they bad at, Jake? Everything?
But I guess yeah, they're bad at everything.
Just a
So
little bit of everything, man.
right.
but you can't always change that. So we got up here Sunday Night Football. Oh, Sunday night. We have the 4-1-1 Green Bay Packers taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jake, what are your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers in this game? Do you think he's like a startable option or like a streaming option for this week?
I mean, yeah, I would say so. I think he's always kind of a flex guy, you know.
Yeah.
He's this season he hasn't been close to being like a number one, top 5 fantasy QB. So
Oh, no, absolutely.
yeah, exactly. No, I think it's fine. It is tough because Green Bay has a pretty good defense. So I don't know. How do you feel about Rodgers?
I think he's usable. I think I've seen in some games that, especially the last couple games, he does better. And I've been looking at the Packers, and I'm not so sure how good their defense actually is. I've been planning on this. I need to look into all the teams and the defenses to see all the stats. But Packers, they have been letting a lot of points being scored by their opponents' teams.
Mm-hmm.
They have been leaving a lot of points on the board. It's not as dominant defense as we thought it could be in the first couple weeks of the year. So I think there could be room for that. It's nice to see stuff from Aaron Rodgers, like the fact that he still has a cannon for an arm. I mean, we saw that like Hail Mary pass. He threw the ball 70 yards. He's 41 years old. So I think there's some stuff in this that I would look at Aaron Rodgers and think, if you're in that tight of a situation, I'd say go get Joe Flacco if he's on the waiver wire. If he's not there, get Aaron Rodgers or Michael Penix. Those are like the 3 streaming options I'd have for this week.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. That makes Warren startable. That makes Metcalf startable.
Sure.
And then the Packers, it's kind of the same on each week. You know, they have the same guys, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Tucker Kraft. Dobbs is a flex position because he's shown it with some of these guys out. I think we're getting closer, though, to Jaden Reed coming back, and I think Christian Watson comes back. So there might be a chance that the receiving core could be a bit more muddied again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I know. How do you feel about Dobbs in this matchup? He's been pretty consistent this
he'll be
year,
okay.
Mm-hmm.
If the opportunity is open, he gets enough targets to where he'll be okay.
Right.
I don't think he'll disappoint you. He seems to have a low floor, like a high floor in every game. Like, he doesn't have a lot of like pure games where he just doesn't do anything at this point, but we'll see with Jaden Reed and when others come back. I'm not sold on Golden anymore. I never really was, but it's just I'm still waiting. You see some big plays every now and then, but he kind of feels like Alan Pierce if Alan Pierce was drafted in the first round of an NFL draft.
Yeah. No, he does feel like that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've been out on Golden, and it's tough. I feel like he's one to hold, and maybe they work with him in the off season, and he does kind of takes over that slot, but takes over the X wide receiver spot. But it's just there's so many guys in this offense, and it's tough. I think Tyler Kraft is really the best wide receiver on the team, and that's why we have him in the start position here. So
yeah, I think it's pretty much the same here.
Yeah.
All right. But we can move on to our Monday night game. Our final game that we're going to talk about is the Commanders going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Commanders are ruined by injuries. Amazingly, Jaden Daniels, we thought it was going to be a lot worse than it was. Turns out he's going to be day-to-day. They just went through that. And with Samuel and McLaurin also, are they going to play? Are they not going to play? If they're all out again, this team's not winning this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to affect Krosky, who's sort of in the flex spot because, there's so many running backs gone that you kind of need
Yeah.
him. But honestly, I'm leaning more towards sit with him in this matchup. It's a tough matchup, and if Krosky Merritt doesn't have any help around him, it just doesn't seem like it's going to work out.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a pretty decent Chiefs defense, and I think they've only been getting better throughout the season.
I think even Luke McCaffrey's day to day now.
Mm-hmm.
So they're losing too many offensive pieces to keep up.
Yeah, definitely. And Jalen Lane, is an interesting guy to look at, I guess.
Yeah.
Just because he did lead the team in receptions this last week. Or in targets, I should say. He got 6 targets on 3 receptions, which is really not great at all. But, especially if McCaffrey's out, if Samuel and McLaren are still out, they have to throw to somebody.
Yeah.
It's going to be Ertz, and it's probably going to be Lane, worst case scenario. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then you see on the opposite side of the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, he's now the leading candidate for MVP. He's now the number 1 quarterback in fantasy football. He's just consistently getting points. Rashee Rice got 2 touchdowns in the last game. He is my start of the week at receiver because I'm so excited to see him back. It's clear they're going to put a specific focus on him in the offense. And I think they could easily trounce this Commanders team, which, by the way, the running game, all 3 guys are still involved, but something's changing. There's a little bit of morphing happening where Kareem Hunt got a lot less touches in this game. Brashard Smith, we don't know necessarily how many touches he did get because they were in the lead so much against that bad Raiders team that they just put all their backups out there. So that inflated a lot of his numbers. But there's enough movement there where it's like we got to keep an open mind of it because Pacheco got more touches, Kareem Hunt got less, and Smith was used a lot more pass catching out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now the emergence of them really using Smith this last game, I think, is interesting to note. Like he did kind of take over Hunt's position because Hunt was out that game, and so we'll see with Hunt coming back. I don't know how much of an impact Brashard Smith will make, but kind of an interesting guy to watch. And yeah, nothing. I feel like nothing really new with the Chiefs here.
I think they're just going to continue to be a little bit better on offense. I think we see them at 4-3. I think they're going to start winning a lot more games quickly. We're starting to see this team really find itself after like a really concerning first month of the season.
Yeah, obviously. Oh, and I mean, I shouldn't say there's nothing new. I forgot about Rashee Rice coming back, but we talked about that a little bit. So
start of the week, Rashee Rice.
Definitely start him, and he's gonna be awesome.
And that is gonna do it. Thank you so much to everyone that watched this episode. We are gonna continue having Start Flex Sits throughout the entire season, so make sure to check those out. You can follow us on Instagram, on X, on TikTok. You can listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Jake, anything you want to say before we go off the air?
Nope, that's about it. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you.
Watch our next videos.
Help us get to 100 subscribers.
Yes.
Subscribe.
Thank you, guys.
Please subscribe. I'm begging you. All right. In a complex fantasy world, just remember to just stay simple. Good night, everyone.